Flamin' Dragon Friday. The under will get hit today.
I don't even know him.
No, like y'all think I'm kidding. I'm not even addressing.
Y'all know me.
Like if you want to make your opinion known, just
y'all know me.
Yeah.
Look, you go and get it out right now.
Just leave now.
It's after the monologue. Y'all just want to say my name a couple times?
Write your name out there.
Y'all just want to say my name a couple times? It's not even after the monologue now.
It's not happening.
Clear before the monologue.
I do though. Kevin, you showed us something this morning. This KFC thing.
Oh yeah, did you guys see this? This guy said his wife just confessed for her entire childhood she thought Colonel Sanders' bow tie from Kentucky Fried Chicken was his whole body. And now none of us can stop seeing a tiny stick figure body for Colonel Sanders. Tell me, you'll never not see that.
No,
that's his little body.
I've never noticed this my entire life.
Yeah, if you're in audio right now, you need to just pull up a picture of Colonel Sanders, the old KFC logo. The man looks like a huge head on a tiny stick figure.
It's a stick figure body.
Now that I see it, it looks more like that than it looks like a bow tie.
It does.
Do you think maybe they did that originally and then it just went with the bow tie, like just because people kind of went with it?
Are we sure that's not
double entendre, or you think like they they thought it'd be funny to have a stick figure and then people
no, like double entendre.
Okay.
Like for real, people took it the wrong way and they just rolled with it.
They rolled with it.
Y'all know y'all can get free refills of your bucket of chicken at KFC.
Man, I hadn't had KFC in a while.
I haven't had KFC in so long.
Me neither, but I tell you what, the KFC like biscuits, good, and their chicken pretty damn good.
What's better, the original or extra crispy?
It's extra crispy.
Extra crispy. I'm a grown up.
Everything is better crispy.
Grown up.
Yeah.
All right, let's be honest. Crispy, I would much rather have crispy than mushy. And anybody who would rather have mushy than crispy, well, I just found a communist.
In everything?
Basically.
In all food?
For example, ice cream. You say, Jake, I want mushy.
Mashed potatoes.
You ever had fried ice cream from a Mexican restaurant? Better than normal ice cream. Better than normal ice cream.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes? You ever had fried potatoes?
I love fried potatoes, but I don't want them crunchy when I'm eating mashed potatoes.
Well, it's crunchy to me because
you just said ice cream.
Well,
you like fried ice cream? I can't do it.
I don't really eat it, but look.
Fried ice cream's fantastic. But I put bacon bits in my mashed potatoes.
By the way, I'm not even talking to you, so I don't know why you're jumping in.
Therefore, it's crunchy. Yeah, don't fall for it. You're already falling for it.
He almost got
me. We're not 30 seconds in the show, and you're already getting
I almost said, hey, so-and-so, that's a good point. I like ice cream. No, you're not getting me.
A lot of it's visual. Just look at me. We're mouthing. It's us today.
Colonel Sanders.
Are you ready for this journey?
Figure body. Grow up, Colonel Sanders.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. UConn, Gonzaga, Kansas State, and my boys at FAU advanced to the Elite Eight. The bet's still alive. We're going to preview spring practice for Utah, Clemson, and Wisconsin. And the World Athletics Council announced that transgender athletes cannot compete against women in female world ranking competitions. Can't believe it. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I was just showing a photo that was unbelievably disturbing before this monologue.
I thought you
can't show me that right before the open.
They did that on purpose.
Goodness, why don't you just hit somebody with a baseball bat in front of me right before I do it? After another fantastic day of tournament action yesterday, we get what should be some more great basketball action this evening. But there is one matchup that I find the most fascinating. Now, I think most of us would agree that Alabama is probably the best team left in the tournament, and their depth plus playmaking ability is unbelievably superb. But as I stated before this tournament started, if they run into a team that plays slow and can match their physicality, it could get very tight at the end. Well, enter San Diego State in the picture, and their ability to not only make the game choppy, but make it chippy. Their defense is suffocating. And they're very old, which keeps them from panicking or falling into other teams' traps. Their interior game is good enough to play inside to out, and they have just enough shooters to force you to respect both the interior and the perimeter. Plus, they just don't give up. Austin Powers said it best. Why won't you die? Now, having said all that, if Alabama plays well, they're going to win. But San Diego State has made a comfortable living making opposing teams uncomfortable. I'm going to go and bring in my co-host, married into the Alabama family, but was a quarterback at Michigan, David Cohn.
Yes, sir.
And look, it's Friday, so there's this thing entity on my right. Run it.
Flaming Dragon!
Flaming Dragon!
not what dragons do.
How do you know what dragons do,
I do
David?
because I've seen
How do you know
That
what
was
dragons
100%
do,
I've seen
David?
at least 2.5 of them, just like today's under.
Yeah.
Send him on the moon.
Okay, set it. What's the over/under on it?
It's 5.5.
All right, we're gonna outline. We're gonna outline 2.5.
You and
We're
me,
gonna
baby.
outline 2.5.
You and me, a little
And you know how
parlay.
we're
Why
gonna
did
do
you
it?
even ask
You
me
know how
what
we're
it
gonna
was
do
if
it?
you're going to outline it?
You know how
That's
we're
how
gonna
we
do
work.
it? We're just not even gonna talk to them.
No.
Nope. Okay,
done.
you got the Booster Club chat pulled up over there? Good. Good.
We're doing this.
like
No,
taking
look,
a
Guys
look,
need to go home.
Like taking a
Look,
job.
I'm trying to win the
Look.
game.
Look.
I'm trying to win the game.
I'll go
All right?
change.
All right, I'm trying to win the game. Look at
From now on, all the gambling sites are going to say, if you bet with your brother that you won't say his name on your Friday show, you may have a gambling problem.
That's exactly right. You can call 1-855-WERE-BROKE. David, I do want to start. Is there any matchup? We're going to talk about the San Diego State and Alabama matchup. But is there any matchup that you find more intriguing in the second day of Sweet 16 games?
Houston, Miami, I cannot wait. And mostly because when we had talked about that region prior to the tournament, we were talking about the injuries. We didn't know if Sasser would be okay for Houston. And in game one, you could tell he was physically in pain with his groin over there on the bench. And then Norshad Omier for Miami, their leading rebounder on the team, we said, look, we understand that Miami runs through their guard play, right? But that can only get you so far in a tournament if you don't have some
Gotta have
sort
a
of
run
low
game.
post presence, because there's no, especially who they match up with. Indiana, Trace Jackson Davis, I thought could really take over that game if Omier wasn't healthy. Well, he was. Miami showed out, ran Indiana off the court, and now we are going to get that 1-5 matchup that we were all hoping we would get when the seeding was announced. So I'm really excited for that. I agree with you on Alabama, San Diego State. It's going to be great. I think the most pivotal player in that game is going to be Javon Quinterly.
Yeah.
Because if San Diego State is able to slow down Alabama, you're going to get fewer possessions. Will that be a good thing or a bad thing for Alabama, depending on if Quinterly is turning the basketball over?
That is
right.
That's one
Quinterly. We know Quinterly can be turnover prone. We also know Quinterly could go out there and drop a double-double with 25.
How dominant is Bediako going to be rebounding too against the San Diego State team that crashes the boards? They got guys like Mensah. Their fours are big. That's the physicality part, and the pace is what I think is going to be fascinating. And Javon Quinterly is going to have a lot to do with the pace of that game. He's a guy they've really leaned on. The person to my right, Dragon to my right, whoever it is.
It's Flaming Dragon.
Is there a matchup that you find the most, I don't know, interesting?
Look, it's Princeton. Not even the matchup. I'm just interested in what this Princeton team's going to do. I mean, you go back and watch all these games. What are these guys afraid of? Nothing. They're just out here playing basketball. And trust me, if you're Caden Pierce, keep doing what you're doing, man. First of all, your brother's balling for the Colts. Second of all, you're making a run in March Madness. Creighton, the thing about Creighton is Creighton knows who they are. They're going to move the ball quick. They shoot well. They're not going to beat themselves. But Princeton, right now, outside of Princeton, there's not really a team, a majestic team on a run right now. So give me the Princeton Tigers. I believe they're plus 10.5 in this game. Money line's plus 300 something.
Plus 355.
355. Look, if you're a betting man, which I am, sprinkle a little money on Princeton this game. I think this game's going to be closer than a lot of people think it is. But I am interested to see the way they rebound the ball and who wins the turnover battle in this Creighton-Princeton game.
Yeah, and that's where I think Princeton's been good is they've been able to win the turnover battle. I agree with you to the point. FAU is an underdog because it's FAU, because of the brand, not because of the seed. I mean, I know a 9 seed going to the Final Four would be underdogish, but it's not something as crazy as a 15 seed or a 12 seed or a 13 seed or a 16 seed, like we've seen in the past. But recapping last night, I want to hit each one of these games. I want to start off with Kansas State and Michigan State before we get to the Booster Club. We talked about the guard matchups yesterday.
Yeah.
Not only about today, but man, did it come through. Tyson Walker, Noel at the end, Keontae Johnson. Kansas State ends up winning 98-93 in overtime. Unbelievably high-scoring game, unbelievably efficient shooting game from both sides. I love basketball games when everybody's on from both teams. Now, I know Tyson Walker wasn't at his best from a scoring standpoint, but he hit some huge shots, including 2 threes down the stretch. One to give them the lead early in overtime, and I thought Michigan State was going to somewhat pull away from Kansas State, but Noel kept hitting shots, whether it was driving, and then he ends up with, 19 assists?
Broke the NCAA tournament record with 19 assists yesterday.
It's ridiculous.
How crazy is that?
Unbelievable, and this is another great performance. Kansas State and Jerome Tang going up against FAU next to see who goes to the Final Four. It opened with Kansas State as a 2-point favorite. The question, though, Tom Izzo, how much longer has he got?
That's a good question. I don't
Boeheim
know.
out. Krzyzewski out.
I get it.
Roy Williams out.
I don't think this will be his last run. I think I hope at least, and I'm saying this as a Michigan Wolverine, as someone who respects Tom Izzo and the career he's had, I hope he takes a victory lap. You know, I don't know him personally, so I don't know if he's the type of person who will just go and disappear at the end of a season and say, thank you for everything, I'm retiring, or if he'll announce it beforehand and, you know, get his last hurrah in every stadium he goes to throughout that season. But I hope another season or two. Look, 7 seed from Michigan State, very middle of the pack.
Down year.
A little bit, you know. Then all of a sudden, what do? They show out. The Big Ten has disappointed the last few years in the tournament.
That number I gave you,
about this.
26 Big Ten teams have made the NCAA tournament in the last 3 years. 1 has been to the Elite Eight.
Not good enough, but who can you rely on? You can rely on Michigan State and Tom Izzo when it comes tournament time. Now, I know they lost yesterday, but still a Sweet 16 as the 7 seed. They beat a good USC team to get there. They go through who next? Marquette. They beat Marquette. Hats off to both of these teams yesterday because Kansas State really stayed strong at the end. And in addition to 19 assists, Noel had 20 points too, by the way. Some of the threes he was taking at the end of the game I thought might cost Kansas State because he was letting them fly from the logo. But they stayed strong throughout this just ongoing pressure from Michigan State. And hats off to the Spartans, man. They didn't give up. They made it a close game, forced overtime. They made big shots when they had to. But they were hitting their threes, but the low post cutting presence with Kansas State proved to be the difference. I felt like I was watching the Warriors or something, man.
Well, the pace of that game it was back and forth. And Michigan State typically don't want to play like that. I think they just, and they were hot early, so they just rode the hot hand and they weren't able to outscore them. Then you move on to FAU, who moves on again. I got that $10 bet for $2,000 for FAU to win it.
That one's still alive,
another day.
buddy.
They've got Kansas State next, like we talked about. But this Tennessee team, and we said this, and this is what we talked about yesterday. We know they're going to play good defense. You held them to 62 points. Were you going to be able to shoot the way that you shot earlier in the tournament? Shot 40% on offense and then played that style of defense? You're going to win every time you play. Didn't shoot 40%, didn't score 30 points and a half last night. I want to give FAU's defense credit, but this FAU team, Flaming Dragon, is an absolutely complete team with Vladislav down low and the guard play they get. Anybody can beat you any night.
Well, you watch this team and you can run through any other team right now left in the tournament and you can stack up these guys against them.
For sure.
Like these guys, for one, extremely well at shooting the basketball. 2, they know their identity and they stay within a system. And you're not going to big boy these guys. And at the end of the day, if you have that low post presence when it comes to these games, and you can shoot, and you have a guy at point guard, multiple guys who can actually bring the ball down the court and can hold the ball and not turn the ball over and get a good look, you can play with anybody. But it comes down to this. And this is why I'm surprised that Miami's still doing it. Usually most of the teams who can make it in this tournament can shoot but have a presence down low. And trust me, if you're huge and last name is Bogut, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe in you playing down low. So right now, from an athletic standpoint, from a shooting standpoint, you could stack up these guys against any other team in this tournament. That's why I was big on Arkansas. Just the level of athleticism that you see on these guys. There's not a downfall. There's not a drop-off if you watch a Kansas State team to an FAU team. Right? If you watch Houston, then watch FAU play. FAU can run with anybody in this tournament. And the thing about it, I love their coach. Right? Their coach is, it's never too big. He's never too excited. The dude's mostly even-keeled most of the time, and I like watching.
Well, that's the funny part because he learned under Bob Knight.
Exactly.
The most uneven keel guy ever.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. I mean,
let me ask you this. If Memphis finds a way to beat FAU in the last 30 seconds of that first round game, is Memphis going to the Elite Eight right now, too?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
that was
so.
a heck of an 8-9 match.
Memphis was playing as well as anybody. I mean, Kendrick Davis, what they did in the American tournament, too.
Against Houston?
Again, that was, when I saw that matchup, I was actually disappointed. I was disappointed because I love the style of basketball both those teams play, and it's very similar. And FAU is my underdog, and Memphis is one of the hottest teams in the country going into the tournament. So when they paired them together, I was like, So I'm glad FAU won. I ended up putting the bet on them, thank goodness. The odds were a little bit better as well. But then Arkansas guys just got blitzed. Woo. Arkansas got blitzed last night. Sanogo, UConn, Jordan Hawkins, God almighty. I mean, the dude is just absolute moisturizer from everywhere on the court. But that was a team effort. I think that's as good as UConn can play. I think last night was as good. And people say, oh, well, they turned the ball over 15 times.
17.
17 times. I get that. But I feel like that was kind of a symptom of the way that they were playing. It was like 80% hit rate for Connecticut.
Was it 17 turnovers, 22 assists?
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's the way they were scoring.
Yep.
It was from everywhere. Whether it was cutters, whether it was working the ball down low, inside out to find shooters, whether it was shooters in transition. Everything offensively was working last night for Connecticut. Arkansas, who we know is not an unbelievably efficient offensive team, I was just shocked at Nick Smith Jr. disappearing again. Devo Davis didn't have his best game, but it's just like it snowballed on Arkansas.
Yeah, so I'm looking here real quick. This shouldn't surprise anyone, first of all. This UConn team, I think, started 14-0, something like that.
Beat
Then
Bama.
they lost 5 out of 6. It was that midseason lull that I think really hurt them and sort of had them be a 4 seed. But they got hot again late. Here are their stats last night. Yeah, we talked about the 17 turnovers, but they shot 57% from the floor, 45% from 3, and then 81% from the free throw line. You know, and Arkansas, this says more to me
That's
about
NBA
UConn.
numbers.
Yeah, it just said, like, UConn is so hot right now. They're a great team. Sanogo's playing well. Everybody's working in tandem. And this team, the Big East has shown up, man. The Big East has really shown up. So let's see. We got Creighton and Xavier today, which I want to get your guys' take on Xavier in Texas here in a minute too. But I think UConn is just they're having the best tournament experience right now.
Yeah, and again, you watch Hurley and the way you talk about a fiery guy. I just love that you can win in different ways. That's what I think makes the sport so fantastic. And then at the end, Gonzaga and UCLA. Whew. Guys, going at halftime, the game was going exactly like how I thought it was going to. UCLA, Gonzaga, wasn't shooting, overtly well. UCLA was controlling the game. They seemed comfortable. Even when Gonzaga would go on those little runs, UCLA would have answers. But then in the second half, you get beat by 16 because Drew Timme decided that Gonzaga wasn't losing. And, we joke around about Gonzaga on here, and I still feel the exact same way about Gonzaga as I do until they win the championship. But you have to give credit to Strother hitting that big shot last night. I was just surprised that both the Michigan State game and the UCLA game, that last possession, ended almost the same way, with the ball in Tyson Walker's hands for Michigan State and then the ball in Tiger Campbell's hands for UCLA. They didn't even get the shot up, got stripped before getting the shot up. But just absolutely thrilling game, two pretty evenly matched teams. Excuses, again, everybody makes them. But if they have Jalen Clark, they win that game. But Gonzaga, man, you got to survive in advance, and that's what they did.
UCLA shot better from the three-point line. They shot better from the free throw line, and they had a third of the turnovers. They had 6. Gonzaga turned the basketball over 16 times, but then Drew Timme 36 and 13. And added 4 assists on top of there. 36 and 13. Son, listen, get me the basketball. I'm winning you.
He puts the fun in fundamentals.
And we have the ending clip of the end of this game.
Yeah, let's bring this clip up because it's exactly the way that the Michigan State game ended earlier. This is there's 17 seconds. UCLA is down 2. Let's play the madness.
Defenders on the bench. Campbell.
Great pass by Tiger Campbell. Gonna hit the 3. I'm in the living room saying yeah, and then Straw.
You're hitting that from the logo.
They run
You're hitting
blooded.
Cold.
And then watch this at the end though. You don't even get the shot up. He tried to push off and get the shot. It's a great defensive play, but we got to get that shot up. Then you got one more chance.
Great play call.
And it almost worked. Oh, I'm Timmy.
The difference.
Thank you. I'm so glad we got this basketball game.
The difference.
I'm so glad we got this one in the tournament.
Yeah,
we deserved it.
It's fantastic stuff. Remember, we have call-ins today starting at 7:15 a.m. Central. That's 8:15 a.m. Eastern. You call in with your call sign. You have to call in for your call sign to be officially taken. We've had a lot of people ask. There's only one on layaway right now, and there's a reason for that. But let's get to the Booster Club.
Man, legendary.
All right, let's go to Deacon in Norwich. She wants to know, what do you think the chances are of Princeton versus FAU championship are, and who would win? Now, I don't think they can. I think they're on the same side of the
They're on the
bracket.
same side,
Final
so 0%. But
Final Four could be a thing.
But if they both played, America wins. But I'm going to take FAU because I bet on them. I do think, though, I do. There's going to be one of those games where Princeton doesn't shoot as efficient from the three-point line. How good are they going to be inside the perimeter, driving? How good are they going to be driving and picking up fouls? And I'm not just talking about Akamwa. I'm trying to pronounce that last name. I'm doing the best I can. He does a really good job of that. But everybody else, Caden Pierce, as Flamin' Dragon mentioned earlier, the rest of the group, are they going to be able to create shots that aren't drive and kick threes, are off-ball screens for threes, are spot-up for threes? Are they going to be able to create more than that? I think that's the question.
Let's go to Chris E. What's up, Chris? Hashtag Ask Crandon Company, guys. That's us. Even though I'm a Michigan fan, bless your heart, has the Big Ten become overrated in basketball?
I mean, again, look at the numbers. If we're saying overrated is how you do in the NCAA tournament, then yes. How could you not? Because the Big Ten is looked at, perennially, David, as a top 3 team in college basketball.
Yeah, and this year I wasn't that impressed with a lot of teams in the Big Ten, except for Purdue. And then what do they? They go become the second #1 seed ever to lose to a 16 seed. That's not a good thing. It was the COVID year that I thought was even more disappointing because, remember, every conference was in their own bubble and everyone was talking up the Big Ten. The Big Ten is the best conference in basketball, and then they performed just as poorly when it came tournament time because we didn't have any outside information. Everything was so insulated. This year, at least, we knew, hey, the Big 12, premier conference in basketball. SEC is on the rise. The Pac-12 is looking good. Big East. So I don't know. I didn't really expect that much from the Big Ten this tournament, except hopefully Purdue making a Sweet 16 or something like that, but they've underperformed and it needs to turn around.
I mean, at some point, we have got to start elevating the Big East. I said all season my favorite conference to watch, in-game conference play, was the Big East, even if it was Georgetown playing Providence. I love the style of basketball, and I feel like the Big East, all they do is basketball.
Yeah.
Like, there is no more football for Big East. So people say, oh, well, the SEC just loves football and cares about football, and that's it. Well, that's how the Big East is for basketball. This is their thing. So again, just looking at it, I was shocked to hear that number, David.
How does it work for UConn? Because UConn still plays football.
Well, it's UConn's been independent.
So UConn is independent in football, but they play a Big East
independent in football. Jim Moore, junior, they're going to have to join a conference, right? And I believe UConn, there was some talk, and we need to get Dave Benedict, their AD, on. I absolutely love that guy. Is a friend of the show as well. Need to get him on. Need to get Coach Hurley on as well if they win. We'll try and get Coach Hurley on next week.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Dave. That's why I'm excited they're doing well. But man, it's kind of like when you look at Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame in football is independent, but in basketball they're in the ACC. See, when you have 350 teams, you can get away with that. Mm-hmm. Not when you do it the way that college football does. So I do find that fascinating.
All right, let's go to Glegby in the Daily Wire chat. He says, of course the Vols choked last night. You can never trust them to go all the way, ever.
Well, I think, again, as we've spoken of, and Booster Club members have made this point as well, the expectations when Zakai Ziegler got hurt for Tennessee went way, way down. Mm-hmm. If you would have told me that Tennessee would have made the Sweet 16 when Ziegler went down with what they had in front of them, I would have said Tennessee fans would take it. They would take that with this team. Now, the first day after you lose, everybody's all upset. But when you look at it from a big perspective, Kamwa freaked out against Duke, and they played great defense. Tennessee played as well offensively as they could have played without Vescovi going nuts. Mm-hmm. I was surprised that Vescovi didn't have a better tournament than what he did because he was their rock. He's been there for a while. You know you're not going to get a ton out of Plavsic. Josiah Jordan-James has kind of come and gone throughout the season. But Kamwa was the guy really here down the stretch that helped elevate them offensively to keep them out of those long ruts. Defense was never Tennessee's problem. It's those long ruts offensively that cost them, and it cost them last night. I mean, you gave up 62 points to FAU. I would have thought would have won the game. Mm-hmm. But you got to give credit to FAU's defense too. I mean, you give up 27 points in the first half. You give up 28 points in the second half. I mean, you kept them under 30 both half. That's pretty daggum good defense.
It's pretty good, but it did look different than the Duke game. I've never seen a team come out and play defense like Tennessee did against Duke. It was incredible. I know Rick Barnes hadn't won the big one, but from an outsider's perspective, I'm a fan of his. I just like the guy, the way he operates and handles his business. I hope he has some big time success.
I hope he does too. And if you know what Rick Barnes does off the court, charity-wise, and the way he affects, and you can ask anybody in that Knoxville area that knows, Rick Barnes is as valuable to that community as he is to those players. And he doesn't want the pub. He does all these things in silence. You have to dig to go find it. But you don't have to dig to find our Saturday special with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley talking about not letting men in women's sports. And he's got a really cool gift from Harrison Bucker, so make sure you check that out as well. All right.
I mean, I get what y'all saying when it comes to Rick Barnes. He's a great guy and stuff like that. But some of the Tennessee teams he's had, he's failed. in the
Oh, I
tournament.
wouldn't say just Tennessee.
Absolute, some savage teams at Tennessee
And
that had
Texas,
the
too.
athletes to run in the postseason. Regular season is great, bud. Congrats. Well, what matters?
Yeah.
What you do in the postseason. And when it comes to a postseason coach, Rick Barnes has failed.
Well, I would say his biggest failure is only making the second round with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Hell, you could give me 4 blind people and I can make it to at least the Sweet 16 with Kevin Durant.
Ridiculous.
Like it just, and I'm not saying he's the most clutch coach. I'm saying all around, Rick Barnes is great for the game of basketball, and I know Tennessee fans are pissed off right now, and you should be pissed off. I totally get that. But what else do we got in the Booster Club real quick?
All right, let's go to Devin Songer. What's up, Devin? He says, what is the point of having conferences or regulatory bodies if you just can't opt out and be independent but still get the benefits of being a member of a conference?
I'm with you 100%. You're not getting, you'll get no sympathy from me. I agree with you. Join it. That's why the Notre Dame president talking about the minor league for college football. How about this? How about you guys just join a conference and shut the hell up? How about that? Please. Thank you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Notre Dame now to join a conference. Not because I hate Notre Dame. I don't hate Notre Dame. But God, if I've ever seen a 4 that thinks they're an 8.
I actually agree with his underlying premise. This is why I was laughing yesterday when that got tweeted and people were talking about it, but not for the same reasons as him. He just wants other great college football players to go straight to the NFL. So
He's sick of watching Notre Dame get slapped around with, let Marcus Freeman cook. Hold up, let him cook. Let's get to college football.
Let's do it. What teams we got today, boys?
All right, our 3, I've got Utah, gentlemen. I've got Utah. Blaine's going Clemson.
Ooh.
God.
All right, now we got to reel it in.
not
We got to
talking-
reel it in. We got to reel
not
it
talking the
in.
rest
Go
of the
ahead. Go ahead. Talk about Clemson.
Go ahead.
Dragon. Go ahead.
Doing great, though, guys.
Nope, go ahead.
Stop it.
You're doing
Talk about
great.
Clemson.
You're doing great. We're at 2 at this point.
I'm legitimately not talking the rest of the time.
Legitimately not talking?
No.
I don't know. Look at
No.
me. You're doing a great job. Hey. All right, let's have a little Clemson Tigers. All right, you walk in, you return to 15 starters, which is big. You come off 11-1 season, right? You did get whooped up by Spencer Rattler, and the boys came to town when you had a chance to go to the playoff. All right, but what have you added, right? You added Garrett Riley, right? When it comes to offensive systems, hey, look at me when I'm talking, dude. That's so frustrating. There's coming a lot of offensive systems. Garrett Riley can come in and fix a lot of problems. Just came off a playoff run with TCU, and then you saw what they did on the offensive side of the ball. What's the big thing for Clemson that you don't have to worry about that you worried about last year? You know who your guy is at quarterback, right? And that's Cade Klubnik. You bring back who? Will Shipley, who's one of the best backs, if not the best back, maybe behind Blake Corum, in the nation. But let's talk about up front. You're returning a lot of your starters up front, which is big, especially with a new quarterback coming in, a young quarterback. What piece are you missing? That's the left tackle. 3-year starter getting out of there. You just went to the NFL, but you do have a couple guys with some playing experience that can come in and fill that void. But what's been the big thing about Clemson when we're used to seeing Clemson make deep runs, right, is explosive players at the position of the receivers, right? And you haven't seen that. You're bringing back Antonio Williams, who was your leading receiver last year, but you're going to have to rely on a couple of young guys to come back and bring back the explosiveness to Clemson offense. And obviously Garrett Riley is going to be a huge part of that, especially pushing the ball down the field. But the mix is going to have to be there because Clemson, when it comes to turning the ball over, turned the ball over a lot last year, and you can probably point the finger at a young quarterback. DJU is gone. He's at Oregon State, so we'll see how that goes there. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. You'll lose a lot, all right? You're probably going to lose maybe 3 first-round draft picks. We'll see how the draft orders out. But the thing about Clemson, they're returning a lot, too. You're going to be one of the oldest units in college football, and especially up front, right? You're bringing all ACC player up front and 2 guys who had great years, right, but got injured missed more than 6+ games. You bring back all your linebackers, which is huge, especially on the inside. You have 2 ACC conference players coming back at the safety position. Corner, you're not young, so I would not be surprised if Clemson on defense will be another top 5 defense walking into the year, especially what's surrounding them in the ACC. Obviously, we're about Drake May, North Carolina. Florida State's got some good things going for them. But the big thing with me, the Clemson, is this. You're established at the quarterback position. You know who your guy is. 2, Garrett Riley can come and fix a lot of problems. You're not losing a lot up front. The receivers are going to be the biggest question at Clemson. We're used to seeing the Justin Rosses and these athletic freaks running around and just absolutely sniping balls out of the air. Trust Cade Klubnik. Trust Garrett Riley. Let your defense do most of the work and don't shoot yourself in the foot. Clemson, even after the year that was supposed to be a down year, you'll win 11-1. Right? Yeah. I mean, if that's a down year, then congrats, guys. It must be nice. But don't be surprised if you see Clemson back into the playoff talk at the end of this upcoming year.
So Cade Klubnik is going to be the starting quarterback. I agree with that. He's not necessarily proven, though, right? I mean,
no, I wouldn't say he's
you just mean we
the
know
proven
who the starter.
He's the proven starter.
Okay.
And last year, you're mixing guys. You have two quarterbacks. You basically have what?
None.
You basically have none. And DJU, in my opinion, was a bust. For all the expectations coming out for DJU, he was a bust. But Cade came in and did good things. But still, the biggest move is that who you got at receiver, because we're used to Clemson having guys at receiver that rival Alabama, that rival Georgia, right? But then you have Garrett Riley, the fixer.
What do you think, Jake?
When I look at Clemson, I don't ever worry about Clemson's defense with the way they recruit, even though they're losing guys. I mean, I know you're losing Brian Breesy, but they've shown over time they're able to reload on defense. The thing when I look at Cade is it's one thing to have a guy that has played a couple years and you don't have a ton of confidence in going into the year, but you feel like he has potential. It's another thing to have a guy who went out there in his first year and showed flashes of brilliance and showed the reason why that you should think there's that potential. With DJU, all the potential that was talked about outside of a couple games last year through his whole career at Clemson was that he was in the same breath as Bryce Young and these guys that came in that quarterback class that were absolutely fantastic. JT Daniels, those guys all grew up playing against each other, and he didn't really live up to that. Cade Klubnik, I think, has that ability. All right, now, did he make some mistakes last year as a young guy going in big situations? Yes, but he also made some big-time plays. He has the experience. My thing with Clemson is, if Will Shipley, and this is what we've talked about, if Will Shipley's your most dynamic player on offense, Clemson is not going to do what Clemson has done in the past and what the new standard is at Clemson. Where are the Justin Rosses at? Where are the T. Higgins at? Where are these game breakers that when you line up against Bama, and I'm not just talking about the ACC getting through that. Clemson's past that right now. People are trying to fight for supremacy of the ACC with Clemson. They're at the top of that mountain. But if Clemson does not have the game breakers that can go out there and do it against Georgia, that can do it against Bama, that can do it against Ohio State, hell, that can do it against Notre Dame, they're not going to win the championship again. I don't care how good Cade Klubnik is, because you have to have those game breakers on the outside. Travis Etienne, guys like that. So until they get back to that type personnel, Clemson's not, they'll win the ACC or have a chance to. North Carolina with Drake May, we'll see. You know, Sam Hartman leaving Wake Forest, that's going to hurt you a little bit. But FSU, to me, I think is the best team in the ACC right now.
Been saying that.
And I'm going to keep riding that horse. Now, with me, I'll go ahead and do Utah if that's all right. Unless you want to add something there.
No. Tell us about Utah.
Man, looking up this Utah team, and the low-hanging fruit is obviously Cam Rising, right? Cam Rising, and it seems like every quarterback in the Pac-12 that's worth their salt's returning. Bo Nix, even Jake Delora at Arizona. Obviously, you look at DJU going to Oregon State. Can he resurrect his career? But then Caleb Williams, the obvious one's going through. Michael Penix at Washington. But you got to replace Clark Phillips on defense. There's a couple guys that I like, a couple guys I think that are going to continue to take that leadership role that we know Utah has defensively with Cole Bishop and Sione Vaki. Vaki's the nickel I really like. He's one of those nickels that can do a lot of things, which is like having a tight end that can block and catch. Those guys are harder to find. But having Cam Rising back is huge. Now, he tore his ACL. We know that. They're expecting him to be back for the opener at home against Florida. Cam has the experience, and nowadays with physical therapy, I think he's going to be fine. But looking at that wide receiver group on the outside, Brant Keithy at tight end, they have a guy who there's no way he cannot have a big year this year because he may have the best name in all of college football. Money Parks.
Money Parks?
His name is Money Parks, and he plays wide receiver. Him and Devon Vele at wide receiver. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fact check me on that. Those are the two guys I'm expecting to step up. I know Brant Keithy at tight end is a stud. We saw what he's done. He's a proven guy. You do lose Dalton Kincaid, another stud you had. Really losing Clark Phillips and Dalton Kincaid hurts. Those are the two. And then on the offensive line, you got some new faces. But I think this Utah team is going to be one of the best in the country. I think Cam Rising will have a chance to win the Heisman this year, even coming off that ACL injury, because you do have some continuity in big places. Now, one thing about Utah that I thought I would never say in my life, special teams got to get better. Now, you brought in Becker, the field goal kicker from Colorado, who I believe was 11 of 13 last year, had a long of 49. He's consistent. But the punting game and overall special teams game for Utah is typically elite with Kyle Whittingham. And I was shocked they netted under 40 yards a punt last year, which you never see from Utah, really. They've got to get back to being a dominant special teams unit because that can save you when one of those other two sides of the ball isn't playing well, and I think they have the personnel to do it. But this Utah team is going to go as far as that wide receiver room goes, and then the biggest sleeper in the Pac-12 to me at a skill position is a guy named Jaquindon Jackson. I'm just telling you guys, was a third-string quarterback for Utah. 6'2", thick, really good second-level runner. He, last 3 games at combined, had over 300 yards, really did well. I think he is going to be your lead back, and I think he may end up being one of the most underrated players going into the 2023 season that really breaks out. I like Utah a lot. I'm going back and forth on if I think they're going to make the Final Four, looking at that schedule.
How about win the conference?
Pretty interesting. That's a tough one too, man. I've got to really, when we do our schedule, our predictions for teams and how they're going to finish, like we do in all the Power 5 conferences, looking at that schedule matrix for the Pac-12 is going to be like trying to figure out the Enigma machine in World War II. I mean, I need Alan Turing and a huge computer.
And Southern Cal only needs to get moderately better on defense to be a playoff contending team, right? Last year they were so bad on defense, and they still were right there in a game against Utah to be able to make the college football playoff. So I don't know. I do love Utah. That smash mouth physicality they play. 2 of the greatest Rose Bowls I've seen have come from Utah games.
I'm ready for that Utah-Florida matchup.
That's going to be week 1, and that's out west, right?
Yep.
They came to the Swamp last year.
That'll be early.
We'll find out. We'll find out a lot early.
Remember when people thought I was crazy when I picked Florida in that game during the offseason last year? Remember that?
I picked Utah, but you're not. Look, playing in the Swamp, you're never crazy to take
game 1.
I don't care if it's
remember what we
first-year
said.
head
Remember what we
coach.
said. I said that heat you can practice in all the elevation you want. You can go to Mount Everest and do jumping jacks until your legs fall off. But that's a lot different than going down in that swamp heat, going down in that humidity, and Utah players were puking up red Gatorade halfway through the first quarter.
And they had the ball on
When
the
I saw
2-yard
that,
line
yeah.
with Cam Rising.
Still had a chance.
Turn the football over. Look, it's hard to win in the Swamp, but I do love Utah. I want to talk about Wisconsin, one of the more intriguing teams this offseason with Luke Fickell coming in. Now, this is a full preview here because they don't start spring practice until tomorrow, and every spring practice for Wisconsin will be open to the public. A lot of people in Madison are really excited about that.
I don't like that.
And that was not the way it was under Paul Chryst. Let's see if that ends up being a positive or a negative, but a lot of the media personalities out of Madison are excited about that. Paul Chryst went 67-26 at Wisconsin. He went 43-18 inside the Big Ten and had 4 10-win seasons in his first 5 years. But what? No 10-win seasons in the past 3 seasons, right? So I was surprised that Paul Chryst was fired from Wisconsin, but after you were selling me on Jim Leonhard and saying, look, this move was made because Jim Leonhard is going to be the next head coach at Wisconsin. He played there. He's an NFL vet. He's a defensive coordinator. He deserves to be the head coach there. It was sort of a situation where a Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck situation with the Indianapolis Colts, right? You don't want to move on from Peyton Manning, but you have an opportunity to draft Andrew Luck #1 overall. That's how we were all feeling about Wisconsin. Well, Jim Leonhard doesn't even get the job. He's the interim coach, but they bring in Luke Fickell. You have an opportunity to hire a guy who also, Luke Fickell's head coaching record, 63-25. So almost the same as what Paul Chryst is, but has more momentum after leading Cincinnati, the first group of 5 team, to the college football playoff. So Jim Leonhard doesn't get the job and leaves at the end of 2022, says he's going to take the year off. He was in talks with the Philadelphia Eagles to become their defensive coordinator. Both sides mutually agreed to not go that direction. That's why this whole thing has been interesting to me. And then you bring in Phil Longo, the OC from North Carolina, the old school air raid style football at Wisconsin. This is going to be an entirely different thing than we've seen than controlling the line of scrimmage and playing smash mouth football.
Yeah, well, I think we're losing one air raid principle in Mississippi State with Zach Arnett. Because, again, Mike Leach was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Let's make no bones about it. But we're gaining one at Wisconsin. It's the landscape is nuts.
Air raid at Wisconsin is hard to even fathom. That's why right now, as we sit here on the precipice of spring practice, we have a lot more questions than we have answers. I don't know who is going to be the standout wide receiver for Wisconsin. I think it's going to be sort of by committee. I don't think you'll see a wide receiver catch for 1,000 yards necessarily, but let's see, does one of those guys step up? Offensive line, a lot of guys have experience, but I don't know, are splits going to get widened now that you go to the air raid? Are guards going to become tackles? Who's going to play center? Like things like that. Obviously at running back, you bring back Braylon Allen, who who had 1,200 yards rushing
Freak.
as a freshman and a sophomore, double-digit touchdowns both of those seasons. You know what you're going to get there, so that's exciting. Wisconsin has a great running back. Surprise, surprise. But the quarterback position, Tanner Mordecai, comes in from SMU. And remember, he spent 3 seasons at Oklahoma before that. So he's a 6-year player here. 7,000, almost 8,000 yards passing with his time at SMU. But here's what's interesting. Nick Effers also transferred in from Oklahoma. This guy is taller. A lot of people say he's more physically gifted. Will he compete for the starting quarterback job, or will he at least serve as a solid backup to Tanner Mordecai here in year 1? Those are some questions that I have for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think Mordecai, watching him at SMU, is such an underrated runner too. Like, he's one of those guys that you don't realize how fast he is until he just ran by the safety, and you don't understand how that guy just ran for a 40-yard touchdown. Now, I know the competition level at SMU wasn't what it's going to be at Wisconsin, but again, he's been at Oklahoma. It's not the competition level for this guy.
Yeah.
He could spin it. The thing about Tanner is he has got to be smart with the ball down the field. That's when he gets in trouble. He likes to take shots. I love that. It's like going out with your fun buddy at the bar who loves to take shots. It's great, but I don't want all of them.
And when you look at his mobility, Phil Longo, the last 2 quarterbacks he's coached, Sam Howell and Drake May. So you get a quarterback like Tanner Mordecai. I think Phil Longo will be able to get the most out of Tanner Mordecai. But can you piece the whole thing together? I think Wisconsin's defense will be good before Wisconsin's offense is good as you head into the season. But I'll say this right here about Wisconsin. You bring in Luke Fickell, and you already were in a good spot with Phil. Like, it's so unusual to have a situation where you bring in a new coach where the stability was already there. Doesn't have to, institute a lot of cultural changes. They need to set as their goal and the expectation to win the Big Ten West. We've said no one wants to claim the Big Ten West.
Who scares you? Northwestern doesn't scare you. Nebraska doesn't scare you.
Yep.
Minnesota probably would be top. Iowa didn't scare me as long as Kirk Ferentz and his offensively dyslexic son are still there. Illinois, I would say Illinois and Minnesota if I'm looking.
And Bielema used to be there.
Yeah. Aiden O'Connell's gone from Purdue.
Yep.
Jeff Brom is gone from Purdue and went to Louisville. Now, I love the hire that they made. They hired Illinois' defensive coordinator at Purdue. So it's a Big Ten West, West kind of mashup. So it's going to be fascinating to watch that league. Man, my early vote, and I really want to go back and look at it. I'm going to do a deep dive on Minnesota because while I can't stand P.J. Fleck, he has been really consistent. I do want to give him credit.
Also no Michigan this year for them, and you get the Buckeyes at home. But you know what's interesting? The Georgia Southern Football Eagles go to Madison this year. What happened the last time they went to a Big Ten West school? Spanked Nebraska around, said, hey, we're gonna get this win, GATA, and then head back to Statesboro.
That's exactly right. All right, Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Brad David with the $5 donation. He says, what are the qualities that make a college football coach a good recruiter?
Well, a lot of it is just like anything. What makes a great salesman a great salesman? I think being genuine, having answers for every question, and making you feel like they care enough about you as a person, not just what you can provide for them. And then obviously you look at resources and things that places have. How well do they sell that? How well are they read up? But you can just tell with that human connection when somebody is being genuine with you. The biggest thing is not being fake. I used to say all the time when I was recruiting, you have these 35, 40, 45-year-old men trying to go be fake in front of 17 and 18-year-olds. You know who can sniff a rat quicker than anybody? It's a 17 and 18-year-old. You want to know why? Because they go to high school. They see it every day. They see it every day. They see it with teachers. They see it with students. They see it with parents. They see it all the time. You can't fool them. And then if you somehow get by them, half the time, mama or daddy or both or auntie or grandpa or grandma, they're the one handling recruitment. And you're for damn sure not fooling them. So just like anything, there's stupid people everywhere that can get tricked into a lot of stuff, but it's about being genuine. And we genuinely want you to call in right now at 1-855-236-3228. That's 1-855-236-3228. Give us your call sign when you answer, and it is yours forever. Give us your opinion about anything. Do you have a quandary you want us to solve? We've been doing that too.
We've been doing that
as well. We've Dr. Phil'd this thing a couple times.
One more note on Purdue's quarterback situation. Hudson Card transferred in from Texas. That's going to be interesting.
Good for Hudson. I think
got
Hudson
Iowa,
needs a chance.
McNamara transferred in from Michigan. It's going to be interesting in the West.
No, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a different look at a lot of places, not just with Wisconsin and and running those air raid principles because they got Phil Longo.
Let's go to Cody W at =V. He says, any chance Fickell changing Wisconsin's offensive identity will be like Rich Rod changing Michigan's offensive identity 15 years ago?
I was going to make that analogy in the middle of this when it happened because it was such a drastic change. We were a pro-style offense. Rich Rodriguez comes in. Look, it made it very clear to me and some of the other quarterbacks right off the bat, like, you're not the style quarterback we want to play here. We're going to go recruit Denard Robinson, you know? So, yes, I don't think it will be that different. What Rich Rod was trying to do was truly everything was zone run-based, and then every wide receiver route was an option route. I still think what Phil Longo wants to do in this air raid is still have guys who can throw the football and then get out of tight spots if you have mobility with someone like Tanner Mordecai. I don't think what Wisconsin's about to go through will be as drastic as that situation at Michigan.
No, I think Rich Rod was all the way on the end of the spectrum. I think what you're going to get here is maybe a little bit left of center toward the air raid side, because let me tell you something about defensive coaches. All right, Luke Fickell's a defensive coach. He knows a lot, but one thing he for sure knows is we got to be able to run the ball at some point. Like it's just like being able to rebound in basketball or being able to throw strikes in baseball. At some point, you've got to be able to do the things that matter the most, that are the easiest to be able to teach, but the hardest to do. When it's 3rd and 1, you know, our 4th and 1, you know I'm running it. I know I'm running it. Can I line up and get 1.5 yards? That's what this game comes down to. It's being able to make big plays in predictable situations. Because you can have an identity that's an air raid, that has air raid principles, but not be just full-blown air raid. You know, just because, you know, maybe a guy wears earrings doesn't mean he's transgender. He just likes to wear earrings sometimes. So you can't fall totally off the cliff and say, oh, well, the word air raid got mentioned, so it's 100% Mike Leach's offense. What Mike Leach and them ran at Mississippi State and what they ran at Iowa Wesleyan with Hal Mumme and all them true air raid, that's not what you're going to see from Wisconsin, because that doesn't play in the Big Ten. It's a lot easier to try and go bully somebody. Watch what happens with USC and Lincoln Riley. Now, Lincoln Riley and them run a little bit more run-first offense than what people think, but when they go to the Big Ten, it's going to be a little bit different playing some of these teams and how they go about it with the way USC operates in the box. So just remember I said that.
And Rich Rodriguez came to Ann Arbor from West Virginia. Luke Fickell is still a Big Ten guy. Remember, he was the interim head coach after Jim Tressel.
He knows, man. This isn't. He was, like we say, he was raised in the waters.
And also, talking about Jim Tressel, Jim Tressel's nephew, what's his name? Mike Tressel is now the DC, taking over for Jim Leonard at Wisconsin. So look, they're all swimming in the same water.
Look, everybody knows everybody. ELE, everybody love everybody. All right, I want to talk, David. I want you to introduce this because, you know, we talked about, and again, we don't want to go reach for stuff, but when something huge happens in sports, especially something good like this, we want to make sure that we talk about it. Tell everybody about this band.
This is from the World, okay, so here we go. The World Athletics Council, which is the international governing body of sprints, hurdles, cross country, you know, things like that, announced that it will not allow transgender athletes to compete against women in female world rankings competition. So that's a big win there. The move, which goes into effect next week, will ban male to female transgender athletes who have been through male puberty. Still no word if it counts the other way, female to male, but male to female transgender athletes banned for now. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe stated, decisions are always difficult when they involve conflicting needs and rights between different groups, but we continue to take the view that we must maintain fairness for female athletes above all other considerations.
Can we just all do this? This is how easy it is. This is how easy it is. And this is the picture that I was laughing at, though, and I can't take, like, looking at that picture.
I just want to throw a Pokeball at that thing.
I can't.
Right? Like, if I
don't-
saw that in the
Oh
wild.
my gosh. Anyways.
You know what? I'll just keep my mouth.
Anyways. This is the right thing. This needs to be adopted by everybody, and this should be celebrated. It was on social media. Like, and we talk about with Senator Hawley about this, because again, it's a safety issue. You want that guy lifting against women? Like, let's just be real. You want to know why they didn't say we're trans men or females want to compete in men's sports? Because guess what? You're not gonna win. Like, listen, maybe in chess or something, but in sprints, there's not a threat of women taking away spots from men in men's sports. That just doesn't exist.
It's just sad.
That's like saying a midget's gonna take away time from the Joker, like in the NBA. That's not how that works.
Insane.
It's so frustrating.
World.
It's just so frustrating to me to even talk about.
Pull that
It's
picture
the
back
most blatantly
up.
common sense thing to think. Like you really, at the end of the day, you want, I mean, your daughter's going against Grimer? Like, what do you mean?
He won.
What do you mean?
He won fair and square.
What? Duh. I don't know, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we walk in the locker room and he's eating the weights. Like, come on.
I don't want my daughter competing against Hulk Hogan.
Like, literally.
Like, I don't. It's just, and you say, oh, you laugh. Oh, you confuse laugh away. No, it should be laughed at. You brought it on yourself. You do, there's an old saying, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. But good on the council for doing this.
I've known transgender people. I've known transgender people who are involved in weightlifting. They want a separate category.
Yeah.
They're in the transgender category.
Give them a separate category.
You know, when we talk about 95% of the country's being held hostage by 5% of the country, even that 5%, a lot of them are saying, no, this doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, well, they'll say, then you have people who are like, oh, well, no, you're appeasing the group by giving them a division. Listen, let me tell you something. You've been outside lately? If you want to get anything done, at some point, there has to be a compromise of some sort. So by saying, here's a transgender division, because here's what will happen. You have a transgender division, you'll have some sports where they have enough people to compete in that division, and some that don't, and they'll just take it away. All right? But by offering a place, because I believe that everybody should have access to sports. Do I agree with transgenderism? No, I don't. But guess what? I'm not here to hate anyone or ruin anyone's life or anything like that, but I don't want y'all to ruin women's sports. So give them their own division, let them compete. You can have trophies and medals and every day you want. Take all these days in the NHL, gay day, lesbian day, I'm down with girls and guys day, whatever it is, and put it and put it in that division. Y'all can wear patches, flags, jerseys. Hell, y'all can paint yourself and run up and down the street screaming on the day of
We create categories for all sorts of reasons.
All the time.
We have the Special Olympics, which is an awesome endeavor. No one's going to say, we shouldn't have the Paralympics or the Special Olympics because we want to see the best athletes. Well, yeah, that's the Olympics, and we want that too, but the Special Olympics and the Paralympics also serves a purpose.
Yeah, this isn't that hard. So we wanted to make sure and give credit where credit's due. Still a long way to go in this fight, but it's a good step forward. It's a good step forward.
Y'all want to call?
Let's do it.
How about Jan from Lubbock, Texas?
Jan, Lubbock. We
love it, not
love from Lubbock. Getting Coach McGuire on here soon.
Jan, what's going on?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
A belated happy birthday to Flaming Dragon.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And I wanted to tell you that I came for Shapiro and I'm staying for Crane and Company.
There we
Let's go, Jan. Let's go, Jan. You want a call sign? You got a nickname or anything?
I got one, and I love it. Tumbleweed 1477.
Tumbleweed 1477. Lock it in, Jan. Hey, Jan, I'm guessing, are you a Texas Tech fan?
Well, it sort of depends on the day of the week.
I love that.
With them right now. Totally annoyed with them right now. Don't know what's going on, and I wish they could figure out, because they had such a bunch of good kids on that team this year, and I think they really let them down.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised because Texas Tech has been such a staple in college basketball lately that now when I think of Texas Tech, I think of a dangerous team in March. I think of a basketball team. But heck, Coach McGuire, he may be changing that narrative real quick. I'm very high on the Red Raiders. We're excited to get him on the show.
Yeah, me too. I think he was a great choice. I hope they can come up with a good choice for the basketball team as well. Now, but here's my question. My nephew and I are having a discussion about Rodney Terry. I think that it's a shame that Texas has not made him a full-time coach, not interim. My nephew argues that they don't think he's going to be a good recruiter. And I argue back that, are you kidding? Texas is not going to have a problem recruiting. So what's your opinion? And do you think Rodney Terry might be a possibility for Texas Tech?
Yeah, Jan, number one, that's a great question. It's something that we've kind of talked about a little bit, but in my opinion, I think Rodney Terry is going to be the next head coach at Texas for a couple reasons. Because just like in any big situation, when you're deciding who's going to be the head coach at a place like Texas in a sport like basketball, there are a ton of factors that go into it. One, who else is out there to get? Now, that's not saying that Texas can't go wrangle in a big-time coach from somewhere else. Do they go after Nate Oates? Do they go after Bruce Pearl? Do they go after somebody like that? They have that capability. But you have a guy in Rodney Terry that understands the lay of the land. He understands the fan base. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do in what was an unbelievably trying time. I know you're dealing with guys that sometimes are 22 and 23 years old, but your head coach got fired for allegedly choking his fiance in a domestic case. Now, the charges got dropped, but that's very heavy for the man who's been espousing accountability and things to a team, for them to all of a sudden redirect and say, okay, Rodney Terry, well, I guess we'll just believe you after we got lied to by the guy before. You know, allegedly. I'll just keep throwing that word out there. But I think with the market that's out there, there's not a better coach you're going to go get, I don't think, at Texas right now than Rodney Terry, who at a place like Texas, you mentioned the resources, you'll never have a problem recruiting. But Rodney Terry's been in this game for a while. I mean, winning helps recruiting. He knows the coaches. He knows where to go. He knows who Texas can get and what style and identity of player they want to get. So to me, I think Rodney Terry is kind of a built-in fit. And I'll make you this bet, Jan. The minute Texas goes to the Final Four, he will be announced as the next head coach. But they should do it now, or they should do it after they beat Xavier by 7-9.
I was going to say, today's a great day to start. Beat Xavier.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And, and another factor is those kids love him.
Love him.
He got them through a terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be a real disservice to not only Texas fans, but certainly to the players. I think that he's got a great connection.
Yeah, and also, again, remember this. I mean, Rodney Terry, you don't have to worry about him going out doing anything crazy either. He's going to take care of basketball. Right. He's going to do what needs to be done.
Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to Justin.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jan.
Let's go to Justin in Pensacola. What's going on, Justin?
Pensacola. Justin, what's up, buddy? Can you hear us? Okay.
All right, let's go to Devin in West Virginia. What's going on, Devin?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I was just calling about the chicken, the boneless wings versus.
Yes. Can I tell people what that is real quick if they don't know?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. So basically, my argument is there was somebody that's suing Buffalo Wild Wings because boneless wings are not a thing. All right, boneless wings are trans chicken nuggets, and some people said, "Oh, Jake, are you trying to kill boneless wings?" I said, "Nay. I'm trying to save chicken nuggets, dog." So that's what it was about.
What do you think, Devin?
Well, when I first started working, in restaurants. I just want to start by saying that, on principle, I totally disagree with calling them boneless wings because they're just chicken tenders that are cut up smaller. But I was thinking about it last night, and maybe it's for, sometimes you want to feel that nostalgia of being a kid and eating a chicken nugget.
That is what it is.
Also a grown man, but you're a grown man. You can't order the chicken nuggets off the kids menu. And so, it's in the middle where you get to save some of your dignity as a man and still be able to eat the chicken nuggets.
Wow.
With the beautiful sauce and stuff on it. So,
it's such a high IQ play.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to embarrass your customers, or have anybody making fun of them on the way out, like, "Oh, old boy got the chicken nuggies because he's a,
it's like, hey man, Dan got a Happy Meal. What a loser!
And they're good. The boneless wings.
Exactly.
The boneless wings.
Yeah, I like them.
Do I like the bone-in wings more? Yeah, I like the bone-in wings. I go get wings. I'll eat the boneless wings and have a great time. Mm-hmm.
Devin, I had people say
boneless wings though.
Yeah, I do too. I had people say, "Oh, well, people call them buffalo wings, but they're not made of buffalo." I've never met anybody in my life that called a chicken wing a buffalo wing. Who in the hell has that? Who does that? Who do you know that does
How about this? I don't care what you call it. Make sure you deep fry it and put it in the sauce. I know it's not good for me, and give me probably 2 dozen of them. That's what I want.
Well, you're still working on your count.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Devin, I tell you what, we get a decent amount of calls from West Virginia. I really like you guys.
I like y'all.
I've never been to
boneless wings are just Just chicken nuggets for grown-ups.
Yes.
Thank you. There
Just
you go.
like Twitter is high school for adults.
But also, I'm suing. Did I tell you guys my new lawsuit? I'm suing. Because the last Long Island iced tea I had was not from Long Island, and it didn't have any tea in it.
Really?
Are you
So I'm
serious?
suing now.
Good. You'll win.
There you go.
You'll win. Look, we
Yeah.
can take over the restaurant industry. But Devin, do you have a call sign you want to go by from here on out?
I was thinking Wolverine 98 because I
There we
live in
go,
West
buddy.
Virginia now, but I'm actually from the Midwest. So
Okay, there
You a
you
Michigan
go.
fan?
You guys are everywhere.
Devin, are you a Michigan
yes,
fan?
sir. Yes, sir.
Go
Dad
blue,
went to
buddy.
UM Flint. Not the main campus in Ann Arbor, but he went to the one in Flint. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing
we're,
this isn't Devin Bush.
Wolverine family.
No.
No.
Playing for the Seahawks now, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. But
Appreciate it, Devin.
all right,
Go blue.
Wolverine 98. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Let's go to Charles. Not sure where Charles is calling in from. Charles, what's going on?
Area 51.
Hey guys, this is Sasha.
Yes.
Sasha.
Yes. What was your call sign? Sasha, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what it
that's you wanted to stay the same.
You love to see it.
So I've got a little bit of a quandary for y'all. I've still got UConn and Alabama in my Final Four matchup. Should I root for Alabama tonight, or should I just root for chaos because everything else is messed up?
It's a good question.
Like, are you in like one of those huge bracket pools, like with ours on Yahoo, that's like, in the thousands of people? Or is this like a amongst friends, almost final or fantasy football number league?
In the thousands, and I'm not even close.
Okay, chaos.
Chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Princeton.
Absolute chaos. You're basically turned in the Joker.
Yeah.
All right. You're Heath Ledger from the Joker. You're walking around blowing up buses and doing stuff right now. You just need chaos. You got to root for chaos.
I agree.
No, I agree.
All right, so last thing for you guys is I have a little bit of a trivia question for y'all, or a riddle, if you will.
Ooh, we were doing riddles yesterday.
Let's do it.
We put you inside of a room in your house, and 90 is worth more than 100. What room are you in, and what are you using?
We put you in a room in the house, and 90 is worth more than 100. You are in the computer room, and 90 gigahertz is more than 90 kilobytes.
That's a
Nice try. Nice try.
kilobyte.
There it
I
is.
feel like it's Family Feud and we're about to see
That's
the
a
board.
kilobyte.
I don't know. I'm stuck on this one. 90 is worth
90 is worth more than 100. Oh, wait a minute. Is it the wine cellar?
Is not the wine cellar. You are actually in the kitchen.
And 90's, how is,
A microwave.
oh my God.
90 is a minute 30, and 1 minute is 60 seconds.
Oh my, that's a good one. All right, that's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Y'all have wine cellars?
Dude, I was just guessing.
They got
a wine
money.
cellar. Dude,
Sasha, I like that.
Sasha, I do like that. Sasha, I do like that.
Guys.
And
All
good
right.
to see
Hey.
you in All Access every
Yes, as
Thursday,
usual.
buddy. Thank you.
Sasha, true OG.
All right, Cody from Illinois.
Here we go.
Who knows what's coming.
Here
this
we
week.
go.
Cody, what you got for us?
All right. Who's ready to play? What year is it?
Let's
Come on. I'm
dance.
so ready, Cody.
The last one he did was so good.
All right. So before we start, I just want to say you guys are 2-0 with this game format, and it seems like Cone is almost automatic with the correct answer. And honestly, if I wasn't the one calling and reading the clues, I would be a skeptic and say, this is all scripted. There's no way these guys are this good. So
Look,
with that
appreciate
being
it.
said, I'm going to go ahead and crank up the difficulty. If that's
Oh, I
okay.
knew this was going to happen.
Good, bring it. I like
I knew
this.
this was going to happen.
All right. So once again, I'll ask you guys to use no electronic devices. And I will be reading you 5 clues from a specific year. You guys are going to tell me what year it is.
Let's do it.
Dance.
All right. Collegiate champion. The UCLA Bruins won the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. Professional champion. The Oakland Raiders were the American Football League champions. Once again, that's the American Football League champions. Sensational rookie. Earl the Pearl Monroe won NBA Rookie of the Year for the Washington Bullets.
Okay.
Individual accomplishment. Denny McClain went 31-6 in 41 starts with the Detroit Tigers to become the last pitcher in MLB history to win over 30 games in a single season. In a significant event at the Summer Olympics in Mexico City, African-American sprinters Tommy Smith and John Carlos took a stand on the medal podium by clenching their fists high in the air with their tribute to the civil rights movement.
Okay.
What year is it, fellas?
There is a number that's standing out to me right now in my mind. I don't it isn't something where I know for a fact that this is it, but I don't know why the year 1974 is standing out to me right now.
Well, it does have to be an even year, right? Mm-hmm. It's be an even year with the.
I don't know why that number's standing out to me right now.
You know why I don't think that is? Because the Miami Dolphins went undefeated in 74.
No, in 72.
They went undefeated in 72, but they still won. Did they win in 74?
Well, the undefeated season is that what you're talking about? The only undefeated NFL season?
I feel like the only thing that I
was
really
in 72.
So he said the Raiders won the AFC.
When did Stabler play for the
No, I
American
did not
Football
say
League?
the AFC.
Yeah, he said American Football League. So there was
American
that
Football League.
AFL.
Okay, that means it needs to be prior to 16. That means it needs to be prior to 70, and it needs to be an even year because of the Olympics. I'm thinking 68.
1968.
Let's go 68.
That's our final answer? Everybody's going with 1968?
Come on.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, it is 1968.
Oh my God!
That's how you deliver.
For real?
Deductive reasoning.
Deductive reasoning. Let's go. We're mouthing. We're mouthing. Got
Love
Cody.
that.
You are
Cody, this
every
makes it
Friday
weak,
you
man.
have to call in, dog. You know that, right?
It's scripted.
It sure seems that way, but I mean, I'm the one calling. So
Yeah, look, this is not scripted. You can tell by my reaction.
check your Venmo over here.
That is fantastic.
man,
Just
that's
blew everybody's
legitimate,
ears
man.
out in the car. That's
check your
fine,
Venmo.
though.
Thanks
That's
so much.
fine, though.
All right.
Great. Hey, hold on, guys. Great teamwork.
Hey,
Can I
I
just
love
say that?
Yeah.
I love y'all.
And all without saying this kid's name. You
We're not
kidding
even-
me?
who is
We're
that?
up here.
Who is
Multiple
that?
levels. There's layers
He's
to
just
this.
a painting on the wall.
Nick's calling in from South Carolina. I bet there's layers to Nick as well. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, this is Supreme Short King, aka Stash Ambassador. I need to
Stash Ambassador!
Wow.
Write that one down, the Stash Ambassador. Oh, God.
I told you there were layers to this guy.
Dude. Gas me up, dog.
That you see a lot of pictures with dragons that have stashes on them, so maybe it should just be like a Friday thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It should be an everyday thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Live your life.
Everyday thing. Yeah, so also at Greenville, North Carolina, former resident Cone. Went to
Beautiful.
East Carolina University. I know
There you go, buddy.
Go.
I wanted,
ECU.
I wanted to call in and just talk about the Panthers because I've been a lifelong Panthers fan, and every offseason it's like, oh, we don't do nothing. Everything's just, maybe this is our year. We'll build on what we got. But this has been like the most exciting offseason I've ever had as a Panthers fan. And I feel like possibly, actually, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think we're going to win the NFC South. Get
Come
that
on.
playoff berth.
Well,
So
I mean,
I'm excited for what's coming.
yeah, well, and look, that's part of one of the small silver linings of not having a great year is that if your team does decide to transition in a lot of areas, there's a lot of movement and you're getting talked about a lot. And if you look at the division, and this is something we've been talking about for weeks now, Falcons don't really scare you right now. The Saints getting Derek Carr, that's great. They've got some pieces, but Derek Carr doesn't scare me. If he was the boogeyman, I'd feel a lot better about going to sleep at night. Then you look at the Bucs. You get Baker Mayfield, so I instantly don't trust you. I know you got Mike Evans out there. I just don't think they have enough pieces. That roster's getting older, especially on the defensive side. But the Panthers, man, with what you guys have brought in, I like the Miles Sanders pickup. You got some guys that are kind of underdogs, too. And when you get a decent amount of underdogs together, that identity can kind of bleed through the team. And it's a nice combination of having that underdog mentality and being in a bad division because you can sneak your way in the playoffs that way.
Nick, who should the Panthers take with the first pick?
Oh, man, I've seen a lot of stuff with C.J. Stroud, but, my gut kind of tells me, I'd be honest, I'd be happy with Bryce Young.
You would be correct in my opinion.
Either two of those.
Yeah, and I agree with that. No two players are exactly the same. I think Bryce is a little bit better than CJ, but I don't think you guys should be let down if you do take CJ Stroud. I'm just wondering if this is some kind of semantics or positioning with letting out, maybe CJ Stroud's the guy to maybe get the Texans trade that second pick for that first pick to take CJ Stroud, and then you end up getting Bryce Young with some things added to it. So, man, it's fun to keep up with your team when they're at least trying to do something, right? I will never complain about an organization that I root for trying to get better or change when it's not going the way that we want it.
Hey, Nick, call back in when it gets closer to draft time, all right, man?
Yep.
All right, let's roll from one Nick to another Nick in Dallas, Texas. What's going on, Nick?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Going good, brother.
Man.
This is first-time caller, Blazing Grizzly.
Blazing
Grizzly.
We've had some great ideas on this show. The call sign thing may be the best.
I'm scared of this one.
Like, no, I love Blazing Grizzly and the Stash Ambassador. That sounds like a party I want to go to.
Man, guys, I think you guys should be a little nervous about this one. But I'm a big-time hockey fan, and I know we don't talk about it too much. But I was wondering if we could maybe talk about my number one team, the Dallas Stars.
Dallas Stars, first place, baby.
And again, you know, something we've talked about it. We kind of treat the NBA and the NHL a little bit the same. Like right when we get to the playoffs, I know we're barreling toward it right now. We're really going to dive in. Last year, I mean, we dove in pretty hard. That's when I really started to enjoy it. To be honest with you, we it's the trust tree. We can be honest with each other. But yeah, man, I mean. Right now, when you look at the Bruins, that's who everybody's talking about. I mean, you're 56-11 overall. You've got 115 points. But, I mean, the Canes are sitting there with 100 points. You guys are sitting there with 92 points. When I look at Dallas, I feel like Dallas is one of those teams that's going to win their division, but you're not going to hear a lot about them because their record isn't what the other guys are. But isn't that kind of the position that you want to be in a little bit?
I think so.
I would much rather be in the position of the Dallas Stars going into the playoffs as somebody who it's a great story, haha, Dallas and hockey, and they don't take you serious until all of a sudden you're holding up Lord Stanley's trophy, Lord Stanley's cup there at the end. My question to you is, you know, who is the team that scares you the most, Nick? I don't care if it's in the West or the East. Who is the team that you think is the biggest hurdle for the Stars to get what you want and what they want?
Honestly, man, right now, I'm thinking the Avalanche. Avalanche are back. You know, they're reigning champs.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I could see them coming back, even with some of the injuries that they have. I think they can come back and take it all.
Well, they know how to win. They know. Look, playoff hockey, even though it's a series, like this isn't a super elite versus terrible. Now, the Avs ran through our Predators like bad milk last year. I'll give you that. But once you get down to the nuts and bolts later, that's when you got to have Robertson step up. The guys that have gotten you there, right? The guys that lead you in goals, the guys that lead you in points. Those pivotal games, especially early when you get deep in the playoffs. That's what I want to see from the Stars.
The West is so much fun right now. I mean, we have the usual suspects
in the NBA
over
too.
In the East, you know, with the Maple Leafs and the Bruins and the Lightning and the Hurricanes and the Rangers. But in the West this year, to see the leaps that the Stars have taken, like you're talking about, Nick, the Minnesota Wild right there sitting in second place. I mean, the Avs are there at 3 with 88 points. And then if you look at the Pacific Division, the Golden Knights, the Kings, and the Kraken all have taken leaps there, where the Flames were sort of, you know, the most powerful team in that division last season. The West is a lot of fun right now to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to talk about, man. I just want to say, listen to you guys every day. I love what you guys do, and I appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Nick, we appreciate everybody.
More
AK
hockey coming
Blazing
soon.
Grizzly. Yeah, more hockey coming soon, I promise you.
All right, Brianna, also calling from Texas, but from Houston. What's going on, Brianna?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm just calling in to pitch an option for punishment for when the guys miss the under for Flaming Dragon Friday.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
do it.
What do you got?
So if you guys miss the under, I think Jake and David should have to eat something gross for the number of bites that they said the Govey name. And if they hit the under, then Flaming Dragon will have to eat the number of bites by how much they missed it. So if you guys bet like 4, but you only hit once,
what are we
then
eating?
you have to eat it three bites. Whatever
What's disgusting?
gross combination you want to do for the week.
How about this? Let's do Vegemite.
I hate chocolate cake. I just won't eat it.
Shut up, David.
I hate
I
chocolate
legitimately hate chocolate.
Yeah, he really
I
does.
legitimately hate chocolate.
We'll give David. Don't fall in this trap.
I won't fall in this trap.
We'll
You know
give
what? It's a
David
good
pickles.
reminder.
We'll give David pickles.
Oh, I love those things.
Good.
I
Yeah, we'll
love
get him some
those
Wickles
things.
pickles. But hey, Brianna, we will do that, and I want to start out with Vegemite. That's what I want to start out
Vegemite.
with. You ever had
That sounds
Vegemite?
great to me.
Oh,
Brianna,
it's what they give people in death row.
Are you going to the Final Four when it comes to Houston this year, or what?
I hope so, but I haven't quite figured out my plans yet.
Okay.
Also, you guys know I'm a Bama fan. My call sign, I'm going to stick with what's in the chat, Mo Bama. So
Mo Bama.
I'm
Love
listen
it.
to you guys.
All right,
Hey,
well,
Brianna, we really, really appreciate it.
Tide might make
good
their way
luck
to
tonight.
Houston.
Should be a heck of a game tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Thank you. All right, Anthony, Clarksville, what's going on?
Hey, two Eagles here.
Yes.
So I have in front of me a list of 6 teams in Division I football whose mascots are neither an animal nor end with an S. And I think each of you should try to get at least one of them here. And since it is Flaming Dragon Friday, let Flaming Dragon try to go
man,
first.
I want to look at what is
College football, he said?
What did you say? Just in general?
Division I college football mascots.
Division.
Now,
All
there's
right.
a difference between what the official mascot is and what the mascot running around on the field is.
Yes.
So we're going to go with the
Yes.
name and not the actual embodied mascot.
Who's
All
it?
right,
There's
the Fighting Illini.
Yes.
The Crimson Tide.
The Notre Dame.
Fighting Irish. Solid.
And we said it doesn't end in what? S?
S, and it's not an animal.
Navy midshipman.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Come on. What's no, it's not not Rutgers. You said Division I. Give me. Hold on. We're gonna figure this out. Not Utah. You got Illinois. You got Illinois. Think about it here. Regionally. What about ACC? We haven't said an ACC team. Syracuse Orange.
Syracuse Orange. That's a good one.
Syracuse Orange.
That's a good one.
That's 5, right?
So there's one more.
There's one more. Tulane Green Wave.
Thought of one more.
The Tulane Green Wave and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
There we go.
Come on.
Man.
I am the smartest man alive.
There's one more that I'm thinking of. So you guys are digging up ones that I didn't even think of.
Wow. What else did you find?
Hold on. Well, I'm gonna get it. There's one more that you found. Give me.
Want me to give you a region?
Give me a region.
West Coast.
West Coast, Division I. Stanford Cardinal.
That's Stanford Cardinal.
That's it.
Okay, wow, it is Stanford.
Hey,
Okay.
wow.
I totally forgot.
But it doesn't have an
Golden
S, though.
Hurricane.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Nice.
Now is it Golden Hurricanes in Tulsa, or is
I
it
always
Golden?
thought it was
I think it's the
Hurricane.
Golden Hurricane.
I don't know.
That's
I think
that's
so.
a fantastic call, Anthony. That is a fan.
Because you got the Miami Hurricanes, not an animal, but it ends in S.
Yeah. I was just trying to find something that
Yeah.
doesn't end in S.
Let's. That's awesome, Anthony. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
Let's
it.
go
Yeah.
one more here.
Yeah, no problem.
Jack, Minnesota. What's going on?
Hey guys, Spy Guy 024 here. I'll use
Spy
that as my
Guy.
call sign.
Yup.
Got
I'll use
through.
that as my call sign. So I have a trivia question. I know you guys have gotten a couple today, but I have a trivia question that I can pretty much guarantee you guys won't get, because if you guys get this, I have nothing else to give you. To give you. But and here it is. There are 3 baseball players to be drafted first overall, but never play an MLB game. Who are they?
Wow. To be drafted first overall and never played an MLB game. Yeah, this one's tough.
Well, who's the most recent couple? 'Cause they probably hadn't played MLB games.
Yeah, Ryan Leaf definitely played football, but he did play in a game. Major League Baseball first overall picks. Trying to think of the biggest busts. God, let's go. Man, this is a tough one.
Man.
This is a tough one.
I wouldn't know. I don't know this one.
If I sat around and thought about it long enough, I could probably think of one. I'm not thinking of 3. You may have us somewhat stumped on this one. Trying to think of somebody's son that maybe got taken first overall. I don't know. Who are they?
All right.
Hold on. Let me throw. What about?
Who?
Did they get? So they had to be drafted for. What was Kyler Murray? Was there any football players that could have got drafted first overall in baseball?
I don't think he was first though.
Well, Russell Wilson.
No.
I think Kyler Murray, I think, was drafted 6th overall.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. So who are they?
So there's Steve Chilcott, a catcher drafted by the Mets in 1966. He was actually drafted one spot ahead of Reggie Jackson.
Oh,
But,
no.
Yeah.
It's the most Mets thing ever.
Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder after diving back to second base to avoid being picked off, and then was never the same. He never made it past AAA. Brian Taylor, a pitcher drafted by the Yankees in 1991, he injured his shoulder after missing a punch he was throwing at someone who beat up his brother earlier in the day. He threw a haymaker, missed it, and the Yankees doctor said it was the worst shoulder tear he has ever seen. And then the last one, Brady Aiken, a pitcher drafted by the Astros in 2014. He never signed with the team because he failed a physical because of there was elbow inflammation in his throwing arm, and he still has not been signed by anybody.
Wow.
Still a free agent.
That is incredible.
Those are your three.
Jack, that was a good one.
Jack.
And I'm glad you have stuff for us now. You don't just have to disappear, but we appreciate it, Spy Guy. You're always good, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for calling in
Yes,
today.
fantastic.
Awesome.
That was really good.
Flaming, it's mid. We got
ready?
time.
No,
we got
we got
time.
5 minutes. I don't want to rush
we got
through
time.
this.
It's
We got
Friday.
donations and to do
We
better.
got time. We got time.
I don't want to rush through.
Producer
this.
said
I
we
don't wanna
got
rush through.
time.
We'll do it next week. It's fine. We have 5 minutes.
You sure?
Yeah, betting. I have 3
I want to hear what's
I have
bid.
betting, 3
Yeah.
donations, and a poll in 5 minutes.
All right, do the donations then.
We just forgot to do it. Let's go to CG87343 with a $5 donation. It says, that'll happen, but I predict Princeton and Arkansas will make it to the championship game. Not anymore. Being lower seeds because let chaos reign. Princeton wins the Natty by 6.
Again, would you be crazy to put money on Princeton to win the Natty right now? No, I'm going to go home and put $10 on it.
I mean, it's
Actually,
plus 150,000 odds.
Yeah, I'll put a 25 piece on that. We'll Ivy League our whole way through.
Okay, so he corrected it with another $5 donation. I love when you can correct it with money.
Yes.
It's always the best. Princeton Gonzaga was looking at the bracket wrong, but same out.
Somebody put like exact final, like Princeton to beat Gonzaga, and it was even higher odds.
All right, let's go to Ryan Gade. What's up, Ryan? Flaming Dragon, if you ever call John Wick mid, which I won't, which that movie is coming out. I don't know if it's today
think it's
or
today.
this weekend. I am going to see it. But the thing about it is, like, how many movies is too many movies? Like, is John Wick doing the same thing 4 times in a row?
Yeah, well, it's like, you say that, and then James Bond just really doing the same thing over and over.
I mean, that is true. So I will never listen to the show again. So excited to see the new one this weekend, man. I'm pretty excited, too. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's go to...
We're almost there.
Yeah, y'all did well today. Y'all did well.
No, we got to
today.
finish. We're worried about finishing. It's like overtime with Kansas State, Michigan State. Right here. I'm just going to keep doing this.
Stop. Y'all are freaking me out. Let's go to Kevin in Loud. And he says, just curious, why don't people like PJ Fleck? Minnesota Gopher alum here. This is the best Minnesota football has been since before I was born, as in 1960.
Okay, here's my thing with PJ Fleck. I just think the guy is kind of full of it. That's what I think. But it works, right? It's like, not everybody likes the guy who's running the carnival, but they'll go see the bearded lady. They'll see the tallest man in the world. They'll try and hit the hammer on the thing that shoots it up. It works, okay? The row the boat thing, it works. I just don't think it's something that, I think it's perfect for a place like Minnesota.
Is this your outside perspective, or did you cross paths with him in the coaching
I know
world?
coaches in the coaching world.
Okay,
And like
so you have inside information.
Yeah. Again, he's doing a phenomenal job. I just don't think that stuff would work at LSU. Like that, the way that I think it's perfect for Minnesota. I think it's perfect for, and I'm not saying Western Michigan and Minnesota are the same place. I know what the brand at Minnesota is way, way bigger. And I have much higher expectations for Minnesota than Western Michigan. But I just feel like it's just fakery a little bit, to a certain extent. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. So
Let's go to Jay Smiles 24. He says, who will have a 1,000-yard receiver first? Wisconsin or Auburn?
Oh,
That's a good question.
give me Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin. I'm going to go Wisconsin because that offense in the Big Ten with Phil Longo is going to be so new in year one. I think they could have a 1,000-yard receiver this year. Camden Brown's a guy for Auburn to watch. Tarvaris Dawson is a guy for Auburn to watch.
I'll take Auburn.
I don't think you go wrong picking either one. But no. All right, I'm going to get to bets real quick. Here's what we got. After UCLA, if you'd have won, I would have hit my plus 544 last night. But Ace Cone's winning the month anyway. I mean, this dude is just absolutely
balling right now.
Fire. Give me Princeton money line plus 355. Why not? Sometimes you got to push the pedal down, scream America. Then in my parlay, give me Bama money line, Miami plus 7.5, and Princeton Creighton over 140. That's at a plus Xbox 360, baby. David.
All right, I'm going to take Miami plus 7.5, minus 110, and then Bet Buds over there with Flaming at Princeton plus 10.5, minus 124.
All right, little Bet Buds. I'm taking Princeton plus 10.5. Double-digit spread in this game. Don't believe in it. Give me the Tide. Minus 7.5. A lot of people gassing this game up. San Diego. I think Alabama's going to cruise in this game.
You think they're going to kill them?
Absolutely cruise in this game. Too athletic.
Ace Cone. I would trail this guy. Out of everybody up on that board, I would trail the child. Bama. Man, that just sounded bad.
Cut that out.
No, that just sounded bad.
Daily Wire out of context.
It's like that one dude. What's his name? What's his name? That one dude that's like on TikTok who's like, hey, he's like, hey, I'll listen to you. I'll help you. You shouldn't talk to your parents.
Oh,
no, I'm
yeah,
not
that
weird.
guy.
Goodness gracious. That dude should be in prison. Here's what Baby Cone's got. Bama money line and the alternate over 127.5. Remember, he took UConn money line and the alternate over last night, and that hit. That's at minus 140. And then the Longhorns, speaking of Rodney Terry, minus 4.5. That's going off at minus 110. Woo! Woo!
It'll be a good weekend, boys.
Club?
All right, poll.
Oh!
Will FAU make it to the Final Four?
Look, I'm all in. I led the show off yesterday saying it. So obviously, the kid is all in. Got $2,000 on the line. I wonder what the odds are now for FAU to win it. But that's not to make the Final Four. My bet's to win it. So in order to win it, you got to make the Final Four. Not only that, you got to make the Final Two. Give me the Owls. Hoot, hoot.
They said no. 50.
I'm gonna say they said no 54%.
They said yes. 45%. No. 50.
Wow. Wow.
Right
Dude,
there.
I'm so glad we got
Right
1968.
there.
Y'all have no idea.
Oh, that
how
was
excited.
good.
That was
exciting.
That was making the dream work through teamwork right there.
Well done today, guys.
Yes, under hit.
Under?
Well done.
Great
Wait, so
job.
what was the under?
Coach.
5.5?
It was 5.
You said it twice?
Yep.
Blaine.
That's forever.
Tell you.
That's forever right there. It's already over. Good job. Yes. We have to have a
We have to have a winner's
we have to have a
sound.
winner's sound.
Golly. That's why it's collusion back
That's
there.
exactly right. You only have
That's why
one
it's
sound.
collusion.
Well, that's
The
just
deck's
let
already
the
stacked
stream.
against
Yeah, it's
us.
like
He
if we
only has to sit over there.
That's like if we went to the Olympics and when America wins, you play China's national
And I am
anthem.
not eating
Figure it out back
chocolate
there.
cake as a punishment.
Hey, hit me. Actually, you know what? Play our song. Play our song.
Which
Our
one?
winning
You want
song.
the-
You know what it is.
Hold on.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's the best.
There we go.
All right, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you share the show. Follow us on all social media platforms. Enjoy the games tonight. Calls were fantastic. We're going to have them next Monday. Remember, we do them Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you just watched us for the first time, make sure you subscribe. Go over to the Daily Wire Plus. Shout out to our sponsors, Genucell, Epic Will, everybody involved in it. We really, really appreciate it. And, man, like this NCAA tournament, by and by. We're going. Gone.